So it's been so fucking hot here lately.
Don't
And
tell me that. I'm fucking going there on
It's
Saturday.
not, so it's gonna be a little cooler, but today it was 101, but the heat index put it at like 110, and it
Barf.
felt like it was awful. Like, so if you took the dryer hose on a load of towels halfway through and just hoofed it to your fucking maw and then just breathed that as a snorkel, that's what it's like. If you could take the air that gets trapped between your balls and your asshole and then put that in the atmosphere, that's what it's like.
That's what the smell of St. Louis is.
I've been in that. Ugh.
It's fucking, so when like you have I don't know, any kind of object and it's in a cold environment and you take it outside in a humid environment, it instantly gets the condensation on it.
Yeah, like a beer can.
Yeah, did you know that can happen to people too?
Yeah, you just go out and you just feel
you instantly wet. It's so fun. Especially if you're working in a chilled cutting room like I am, and then you got to go out to the chicken cooler, which is like 6 feet, like outside, out the door 6 feet, and then suddenly you're in a cooler that's 30 degrees. And then you get into the cooler and you have a greater risk of hypothermia because you're drenched in sweat and it's cooled you down super chill style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so dumb. And so now we're gonna go sit at a lake, and which, by the way, we're going to Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen Lake of the Ozarks from the satellite view. Tyler, have you seen it from the satellite view?
No, I don't think so.
Let me just show you real quick.
Yeah, it's a man-made lake.
I heard that there's a chance for some thunderstorms during the week, so I'm keeping my fucking fingers crossed because this will be the third time I've been out, fifth time I've been out to the Midwest, and I haven't seen a single fucking thunderstorm since I got out there.
What, you don't want to? You're afraid you never seen a thunderstorm?
Fuck you,
no,
man.
he's seen
Yes, I have
thunderstorms.
seen a thunderstorm.
He wants to see thunderstorms, and they're not happening for him like he wants.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want to see a Midwest thunderstorm? See what it's all about?
Yes.
They get pretty righteous, man.
Can't
So
wait.
this is Lake of the Ozarks. I don't know if the camera's pulling it up or if it's too bright. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like a fucking parasite.
It definitely does.
It does. It's got like these weird squiggly things, and it's got all these tendrils, and it just looks like a parasite. And that's
Like something
that's a good.
intestine.
That's a good. I don't know, preview. A good read the book, cover the book, judge a book by its cover. This time, parasitic.
So you're saying we're all getting parasites when we're there?
Yep.
You're gonna get bit by something. So
Don't go
you're
on,
wanting
man. I
malaria
don't
shots.
trust that water, dude.
It's
that
a
water's
mud
pretty
puddle.
gross.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I was talking to my coworker, and he's like, you ever been there? And I was like, no. He's like, it's like swimming in diesel.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it
especially
is.
around Party Cove or whatever. That's just
I heard that
disgusting.
just don't go there. Boats don't work in that water because it's just full of needles and diapers and fucking beer
discharge.
cans.
It's
It's just like it's more vomit than it is. Like it's got a different viscosity when you feel it in your fingers. It's like it's all grainy.
Yes, just stay away.
So we're not going to go to Party Cove. I know.
God. Oh man, I was really looking forward to that.
This other guy I work with, who's the boss at my store, and he's a child, but he's like, hey, when you're there, go to this bar. I don't even know what it's called. It's called like Pixies or some shit. He's like, go there on like the nighttime. And I was like, why? He goes, cause it's, and he leans in real close. He's like, it's a pasty bar. I'm like, it's a pasty bar? That's it? Like, so it's a bunch of women with like their nipples covered up and walk around the church. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, is that the best you got, man?
God, I can't wait to go to that bar and just cut through all the cigarette smoke while like fucking like Skinner's playing on the fucking jukebox. And there's
it's not gonna be Skinner, it's gonna be Def Leppard.
Yeah, Def Leppard. It's like it's one of those bars, and you know they're real shitty when you walk into the dive bar and there's like fluorescent lighting in there and it's really bright.
Yeah, you're like, oh look, this is the kind of place that has those peanut shells you can throw on the ground and they're actually just crusty cigarette butts.
Everyone turns around and looks at you, just like you're like, I understand that I don't belong here, but I want a drink.
Well, and you walk in stood up, but you have to like crouch down to get under the smoke level so you can see where to go. So yeah, he's like, oh, it's a great place to bring your kids during the day, but at nighttime,
So you
Needs to
guys are
more.
all going together to the Ozarks?
Yeah, my whole extended
Nice.
family.
Oh yeah,
There's
we
like
talked
30
about
of us
this.
or something like that. Yeah, it's
'Cause
gonna the
I tried to
Kennedy.
talk you guys doing it in the podcast while you're there, but
Yeah, a big old pasty Irish family, except for the ones that married Persians. They had kids that can tan. We can't. So
Well,
love it.
anywho,
Yeah.
love it.
But yeah, so Dave, we can't watch the podcast, but we can watch the Grand Prix that's going to happen. And with that, let's get to a Grand Prix because this is the Tire Preference Podcast. And here we talk about Formula One stuff and Formula One things, which is the same thing, but go fuck yourself. And today, we do not have a bye week. We actually have something to talk about. We have one of the big ones, the Silverstone, the British Grand Prix, Silverstone. You heard of it?
Heard of it. I just want to point out that it was the 4th of July weekend. Dave, can you edit some patriotic music behind this? Thank you.
yeah, sure.
There's nothing to celebrate this year. We can't celebrate independence when people have less independence.
That's true.
It was true. But I would like to say that it was the Independence Day weekend, and there was a lot of really shitty things that happened. But it was the Independence Day weekend, and after a couple barbecues, I was in hiding inside to watch a race that took place in England.
The people we got away from.
Yep.
Let's say we did it quiet here, man. Watched the race and no fireworks, no nothing. I didn't hear one single firework the whole weekend.
Well, you guys are on a burn notice, so
no.
Yeah, it's like the whole state's.
But I mean,
state's always under a burn notice.
I think you can. The only place you can shoot them off are in like Glenwood Springs. They have like a professional. I don't think you're allowed to actually shoot your own out here.
I started making really terrible jokes at work and with my close friends, like, "Oh man, my neighborhood sounded like Kiev last night," and no one was like picking up on it. And I know for a fact that they didn't just hear it and not laugh at it because they'll tell me it's a bad joke. It didn't click in their brain, and so I was like, I decided to make an experiment with myself. So hours later, like someone else would show up, and the other guy that I just told the joke to would be standing there. They're like, "Hey, how was your fourth?" I was like, "Man, it sounded like Saigon circa 67." And then they would both laugh. Like that made more sense because we can forget about the war that's happening over there because we have, it's Independence Day. We have bigger fish to fry.
I learned about that in history class.
I heard about that, Nam.
Yeah.
But so yes, this is the Tire Preference Podcast. I'm Jake. That's Tyler. That's David. We're all here to talk about the race and have a few drinks while we do it. So
Yes,
why don't you go
we
ahead and
are.
drink along with us? Every
Jake,
time
what
you
do
see
you
one of
drink?
us take a sip, you have to sip too.
Yeah, all the more reason to watch too.
Right.
There's three of us and one of you. And
Yeah,
what
exactly.
other than coffee, Jake, what are you drinking?
I don't have any coffee today. Actually, I had a really tall Red Bull earlier because I got almost no sleep last night.
Nice. Supporting
Yeah.
the team. I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, I got myself some whiskey right now, but I'm gonna switch to the
Whiskey?
silver bullets when I'm done.
Nice.
I can't get two hand dogs because I gotta take the actual dog to the vet tomorrow morning. Not to no, it's a good visit. It's not a bad
Okay,
visit.
cool.
That's
It's just booster shots
So,
of the new rabies.
you got to
tag.
get up in the morning,
Yeah, which sucks that I got to talk to the vet and I got to sit in the stagnant air waiting room with the dog
That's
going. It's not fun to do hungover.
I got a can of Breakside Rainbows and Unicorns,
Yummy.
and it says
That's
on
a
the side of the
cracked out
can,
looking unicorn.
tropical summery goodness. You're in for a magical ride. It's not a cracked out unicorn. It is a cracked out unicorn.
Yeah.
Do you remember that shirt that we were gonna buy? It had like this unicorn on the cloud, and it's like really having a hard time shitting out these shapes. There's all these people on the earth, and they're going marshmallows.
Yeah. That was such a great website. I think it was like Snorg Tees or something like that.
Mood shirt, I think it was.
Maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Man.
Anyway,
Dave, what are you sucking on?
Well, I didn't prep at all for this podcast, so I am sipping on what we had in the fridge. A little Boda box of some Sauvignon Blanc.
ooh,
And then I've
wine.
also got a
popular with
Hold
the
on one moment.
moms.
Yeah.
I also still got this.
Called the soccer wine.
Smells like Bean Spirit Double Maple.
Ooh.
It's a breakfast stout ale with maple syrup and tugboat
Oh.
coffee.
heard
But it's
someone-
it tastes like you're drinking pancakes, so I don't know if I even want it.
That's the one you sent us.
But
a picture.
I might drink it a little later. We'll see.
I also heard someone refer to these as Colorado lemonades.
The new one. I like it.
I like it. I think it's my new favorite.
Colorado lemonades.
All right, so let's get to this weekend before we start getting off on another track. This was kind of it was an interesting weekend, as an evolving weekend, and I have been trying to recently this year will really watch all the practices, and this one didn't disappoint. A couple of them were wet, and that's more fun because dangerous things happen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had a couple of things, nothing to really talk too much about, except that Charles Leclerc was told by Ferrari that they will accept nothing less than one, or you're going to get first place in the practices, and then he didn't at all. I don't think not even in one practice did he get Let's just double check that real quick. Yeah, Bottas got P1 and P1. Carlos Sainz got P1 and P2, and Verstappen got P1 in practice 3. So yeah, nothing happened. And then Charles Leclerc did not even get P1 in qualifying. His teammate did.
Yeah, he had a poor outing this weekend.
Yeah, it's
at least when it comes to practices and qualifying. He just it's like he didn't really show up, or he showed up late.
Yeah, there was something going on there. He just wasn't in the right mindset. I think he's getting really frustrated, which is
very frustrated, which is understandable.
Very understandable. I was telling the guys earlier, Max Verstappen, we'll get to it later, but he was not the only one driving around with a handicap during the race. And Dave's like, oh yeah, Leclerc had a part of his wing off too. And I was like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Ferrari strategy team.
Well, he's just got to do what Sainz does and say, fuck it, I'm the new strategist in my car.
Yeah, I am the strategist now.
Yeah. And then Sainz spins out, but he didn't do that this weekend, so it worked out for him.
No, but you know who else didn't spin out this weekend? Was Verstappen and Leclerc before the race, because they did a 360 and then took off again.
Yeah, that
was almost as smooth as that 180 that Vettel did in Baku.
Almost. I would say Verstappen's was great because he still had a lap time faster than 90% of the people on the track at that point. It's like, holy shit.
That was during practice, right?
That might have been qualifying.
Yeah, I think you might have been right on that.
Yeah,
because it was pretty wet, and I know qualifying it was torrential for.
It was torrential.
Well,
you know what I did like about qualifying too, with everything that was going on, and somebody that we enjoy shitting upon, Nicholas Latifi. Out qualified Alex Albon, and yes, Albon had the upgrades for the Williams.
He did. Turns out those upgrades work really well in the dry. Maybe we're not sure. We'll get to why we don't know that later. But Nicholas Latifi got he got P10, which is in qualifying, which is great.
Which is, I mean, that's not. Is that his first Q3, or is that
that's his first Q3 this season? He had one last season.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still that's gotta hurt so bad, for Albon, just back in the garage. They're like, hey, you hear that? Latifi's still out there driving because he got into Q3 and you
did not. he might.
The new boss be, that Joseph guy or Yost or whatever probably took Albon's juice away. It was like, this is Nick's now.
Yeah, just
well, I mean, Latifi might know he might be on the chopping block, so he might be fighting a little harder. Might see some better results out of him. Or some more crashes.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he should have fucking done this season and a half ago.
He might have got too comfortable for some reason. Who knows why, people get comfortable in their spots. Right. But now this might light a fire under him. Might see a little better racing out of him. Who knows?
Yeah, it's all right to get comfortable in your spot now, but just down that spot's last
damn
place.
It, Siri, shut the fuck up. Sorry. As Siri set up on my computer, so anytime I say something that sounds a little bit like Siri pops up, and then it'll say what it thinks it's saying. So for instance, it just came up when I said we'll see, and it's it's 7:45.
That's awesome.
Anywho, so yeah, where were we? That was qualifying in the wet. That was cool. Yeah.
For some reason I'm drawing blanks on everything but the race here today. So sorry, fellas.
Well, because the race is pretty big, but so your qualifying ended up with Carlos Sainz getting first place there on the P1 for qualifying. Max Verstappen had a very close second.
By the way, when he was given his interview at the end of it, did you hear everyone in the crowd booing
Verstappen?
Yeah.
He got booed.
Yeah, so he's doing his post qualifying interview, and you hear everyone start booing, and then I think they started chanting Lewis.
Oh my god. What a bunch of cocks. Well, whatever. They're British guy, British driver. I get it. You know, he'd probably be doing the same thing if there was an American dude. He got like 10th place. He'd be like, fuck the top three. Fuck you guys.
Every time they're interviewing somebody, you just hear the whole crowd go, USA! USA!
I just like people just yelling obscenities extremely fast, you know, just like overwhelming you. It's like I played this game. It was the Rick and Morty game on VR, and
that'd be so much fun.
You're in this garden, and this guy pops out of this birdhouse or something, and he's just like this. It's like almost like it looks like a genie coming out of a middle. He's fucking yelling at you. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing in my goddamn garden? Get the fuck out of my garden! What the fuck is your problem?" Like you have to defuse a bomb. He's like, "Don't cut that fucking wire. What are you doing?" And then it drops. Like he's like, "Put it the fuck back." And you put it in the wrong place. Like that's not where it fucking goes.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so qualifying happened, and let's get to the race. The race was, as we said, at Silverstone. It featured the Aston Martin safety car and the little ambulance car, the doctor car, which, of course, because it's Britain, and that's not where Mercedes is from. But we get to the race, right? And it's lights out and away we shall.
I like it.
Because we weren't sure if that motherfucker was alive for a few minutes.
No, that was
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I'll break it down for you if you didn't see it. Which, if you are at all interested in F1, I'm sure you've seen it. Especially those fan videos, they're fucking crazy. So, the lights out and away we go, and a lot of people had a shit start, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we had a Christmas tree of tire colors on the grid because everyone started on something different.
Yeah, that was an odd one.
Right. And one problem was Sainz, who had a shit start and then immediately got passed by Max Verstappen. As I said, oh, great. Here we go.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Carlos can't do anything. And then they go around turn one, and they had that shot of them coming at turn two, and I see a car in the back upside down. And I'm like, oh, what's the thing? Yeah, there's a thing happening, and then nothing. And I was like, show me the action, show me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I know why they weren't showing. But I was getting frustrated, but I understood. But I was like, you know, you can show it sliding. That you know, he was alive when that happened. And so they red flagged the race, and as they are red flagging the race, as this crash is happening on the other side of the track, this group of protesters that plan to storm the track on the first lap to disrupt the race were storming the track, but the race had already been shut down. So they were just out there in the field.
Well, I get protesting, but Jesus, on an F1 track where they're going to be coming around at almost 200 miles an hour, if not more. Jesus,
yeah, this is
how stupid are you?
Blocking. This isn't blocking traffic on the freeway, like
which you also probably shouldn't do because that's dangerous.
Emergency vehicles, it's dangerous. Yeah,
but
I get the reasons. Absolutely, but
yeah,
that's a poor planning. That's just idiotic. Come on, guys. There's better ways to do that.
Poor planning with protest. Do you guys see the video of the guy that jumped on stage and protest during Joey Chestnut's
the hot dog record
thing? Yeah, he got body slammed.
Mid dog throating, and he body slams this dude, finishes the dog, and keeps on going and fucking wins.
Yeah,
the greatest athlete in human history.
You got to wonder, like, maybe he's onto something, because he probably only eats hot dogs, and he choke slammed that dude with little to no effort.
They don't get any nutrition from them. They puke that shit up later. They don't it doesn't pass through them.
God, I bet it's just so uncomfortably painful with all the amount of like hot dogs that you fucking ate. And then they had a pink lemonade drink chugging contest.
Oh, dude did a gallon just
just fucking upended a gallon of pink lemonade.
I saw crazy. That. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, Jesus.
The thing you gotta remember about
real America
competitive eaters, they don't chew the food to a paste and then swallow it. It's like chomp, chomp, swallow, chomp, chomp, swallow.
Well, they're also dipping it in water too.
Sure, that helps it go down. But
that helps the bread, yeah, for sure.
But in the amount of time it takes for them to get their trophy, get their picture, and then purge, that dog ain't digested. It is still roughly the same shape. So you are yakking chunks, and that's not a toilet yak because that. Well, I guess it kind of could be. They're just like hard turds, like when you got the machine gun shits that bounce off the bowl into the water.
Oh goodness,
that might get cut. I don't know. on just being gross.
It's if it made you laugh, it stays in. All right, so we're getting back to it because we're making poop jokes when there could be a guy dying in F1.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, the wreck was fucking crazy brutal. So
it was brutal.
You had there was so much going on. There was actually two different wrecks that weren't related, and one of them was Gasly was getting pinched by Zhao and Russell, and they came in, and Russell tagged first, sent Gasly into Zhao, hit him on front left, hit his back right, and it just fucking flipped him immediately, and he slid like 150 feet across the
it was more than that. It was
that was
50 yards.
Yeah, it was
whatever.
A long slide. Because they were already at a healthy clip by the time that
yeah, they're doing like 120 miles an hour. But Martin Brundle, after the race, went down to the track where he hit after he flipped, and it's like an inch. Well, he said it's 7 meter. It's like an inch gouge in the hard racing surface. Anyway, so he slides across the hard racing track into the gravel, hits the tire barrier, fucking flips, and gets caught by the catch fence, which that's fucking crazy. And there's fans right on the side, and there's some really crazy, intense videos watching this car just coming at you.
Yeah.
So George Russell from that wreck got a puncture. And actually, I don't think it was Gasly. I think it was Tsunoda that got pinched because his wing.
It was
Gasly.
Tsunoda's happened with
Albon.
Might have been Albon. Yeah, Albon, because he couldn't see anything, and there was Albon. He just right into the front end of Albon.
So we'll talk about the Albon wreck here in a second. So at the end of turn one, or in the entrance of turn one, you have at this point 5 cars. You got Tsunoda, Albon, Russell, Zhao, and for a moment, I think Gasly. And
Ocon was slow coming back too.
Yeah, Ocon.
He was the last one back to the pits.
Yeah.
So George Russell immediately can you hear that?
Hear what?
No.
The vacuum? Okay.
No. Can you hear my dishwasher?
No. George Russell sees what happens and immediately just starts like, and I watched him and he was unbuckling super fast, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, he just got a pop back tire. It's gone. And he gets out and he uses those fucking 20-foot long legs of his to run across the gravel and check on Zhao.
Like a deer prancing across that
gravel. Did. He looked like a fucking gazelle. And so that's awesome. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that was like to see.
That was classy, man. That was good to see. He cared. And everybody's like, oh, he had a guilty conscience. Well, no, because he didn't know Gasly was like right there. And he was pinching him in, and it was all going to cause a thing.
And he didn't know that Zhao had a shitty start just like he did. He was just trying not to hit somebody. He's not guilt.
No, that was total class act by George Russell. he should have got driver of the day. I mean, I know
he should have got driver of the day.
We'll talk about that later, but
yeah. So Russell's a great guy. I went over there, checked him out. That crash was just super violent. They didn't show any of the footage from that for almost the entirety of, I think it was about an hour that they delayed the race.
It was a long time.
I kept having to, I watched it later and kept having to like I didn't want to like advance through the red flag period until I had seen what had happened, because it happened so fast. It was so gnarly. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm sitting there also waiting. Like, I'm not exiting out of this until like we get the all clear. Like, it was hours later. I had never gotten a news update, but you didn't know if he was conscious or what.
Right.
Yeah. Well, luckily, my dumbass broke the social media blackout protocol for race day, and I was scrolling through, and I just happened to see Zhou Guanyu and Alex Albon are both okay after today's horrific incident. And I was just like, oh fuck! And I immediately put it down. I mean, I was like, oh, what the fuck did I see? But then, so we're watching the race, and all this happens. And you're seeing that view, and then all of a sudden Guan Yu going flying upside down across the screen. And Annie was like, my wife Annie was, she was visibly concerned. Like she was, like, oh my God, she thought he was dead. Like,
right.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I already know he's okay, so I'm gonna let her know so she don't freak out for the next however long, because I know they weren't going to show anything until they know he's okay.
Not until they know,
especially since his car landed between the tire barrier and then the fence,
the catch fence.
He was up, like he was like on his side, so there was like it was so hard to get him out of there,
right?
Which brings up another point. They were full of fuel. He is so lucky he didn't catch fire.
Yeah, no shit.
Right.
So lucky, because he never would have been able to get out of there in time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're not like because they're going to switch to a new type years, and I would not be surprised if we see an F1 car or even more motor racing that use the same technology that jet fuel uses. So jet fuel, when under certain conditions, like mostly for ground landings, when it touches the air or something like that, it gels and it becomes unflammable. And
that's pretty.
It kind of slides. It kind of slides across. I mean, it's slippery as fuck, so you can't drive over it. But it won't burn and explode. I think it burns. It doesn't explode. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing that for racing fuel too, especially after the Grosjean crash that we all remember.
Still, how he walked away from that is crazy.
Or the Jos Verstappen crash from year ago.
Was it a crash? Was it a crash?
That was just a crash.
His car caught fire in the pits.
Do you see this? Do you see what's happening?
No, your dogs are shorter than your camera.
The toy box is in here, and the little one she picks a toy up out of the box and puts it on the ground and goes and gets another toy.
Oh, that is hilarious. Hey, you're gonna have to clean up this mess later, okay?
I know Mallory is always like, "Hey, we got people coming over. You gotta clean up the dog toys." I'm like, not until like 5 seconds before they walk through the door, because the dog's just gonna she's going in for another one. Let's see, it's another toy. She just puts on the ground and then puts on a toy. She
doesn't want to play with any of them.
No.
There she goes.
She's out.
That's hilarious. Good girl.
So Zhou Guanyu survived the crash uninjured at all. Just went to the infield medical center. Incredible that he walked away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of tells you how good those halos are. Saved his life that time, saved Lewis Hamilton's life back in Monza last year, and saved there was someone who got hit. Leclerc, yep.
It saved Leclerc.
Yeah.
That was what, 2019 or
20? Yeah, it was the year before he went to Ferrari.
Yeah,
that's what I've been like.
It was 18, the first year of the 18. Halo.
Yeah,
or second year of the Halo, I think.
Everyone's like, the Halos are dumb.
Yeah, until it saves your life.
George Russell did kind of get the shit end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, he did. There's a bit of a technicality with that, because when he got out, so he left his car to go save Zhou, or try to at least,
or make sure he was okay. At least
make sure he's okay. So the rules and regulations say that if your car cannot get back to the pits under its own power, it is not going to race again. Which is why we saw for example, Science DNF in Australia, even though his car is 100% fine, he just beached himself, but he couldn't keep on racing.
Yeah.
George Russell fell under that same thing. Now, a lot of times back in the past, when they were running late, naturally aspirated 8-cylinder or 12-cylinder, 10-cylinder, the cars did not have enough power. Or how's that go? There wasn't any starter motors on the car. They used this big drill and they hook it into the top gear and they just hit the button and it spins it up. But with the turbo hybrid area and the batteries, you have enough power to turn that engine over and create combustion and just keep it kind of like push starting a car. So stopping your car and turning it off on the track is not a death sentence anymore. Unless you're George Russell and unless your fellow Brit does not hear you correctly, because he told the guy on the in the truck there, don't take my car. It's fine. I'm gonna go check on Zhao Guanyu. And when he went over there to go see if he could help in any way, and then he came back, his car was in the back of the truck.
No, it wasn't then.
And
he went back to the pits.
No, he had gotten
to
back
talk
into
to his team.
car.
Yeah, he after he checked on Guan Yu, he went back to his car and then he went back to the pits to talk to his team, and he came back, and by then they had his car up on the
right. Well, it doesn't matter when it happened. The point is he told them not to do it, and they did it. They did it. So
yeah,
and you know how those truck drivers, those tow truck drivers are.
Yeah.
Oh, we know how the tow truck drivers
know how
are.
tow truck drivers work.
Yeah.
It's
they
like
contracted the guys out of Miami.
Them guys again.
They couldn't
For
find
some reason the guys out of
truck.
Miami talk like they run from Brooklyn.
Hey, all the nuts
He
roll
goes-
downhill. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
All the nuts roll downhill.
So they throw the car back, and he goes, George wants it, and he goes, Georgie, I'm sorry. I get paid to pick the car up. I don't take the car out to lift.
We
It's a whole
don't take
nother
the car off.
We're all union. I don't take no work from no one.
We're
There's
the local
separate
540. The local
Yeah.
210 takes it off of the truck.
See, but nothing I can do about it. It's just
You
that.
don't cross local lines. You don't cross the lines.
Now, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
What do you want from me?
You want from me? Hey, you know what I want over here?
Mm.
Some good cigarettes. You know what I mean? They're
Hey,
so trash.
yeah.
They're so trash.
English cigarettes is trash.
So
You can't get
bad.
them no one. Nobody smokes no more.
No, nobody smokes the
Ridiculous.
one. They drink warm beer. Who does that?
Yeah. You think this close to Italy? I can get a good Italian sandwich? Nothing.
Nothing.
happening.
None. You know the only thing they have here? Fish
What
and
they got?
chips. Some fish and chips.
Fish and
That's
chips.
fish
It's
and
just
chips
a
in the
pile of
can.
grease.
Pile of grease. In the newspaper. Fish and
Just a
chips.
pile of grease
Although-
newspaper and a warm beer. What the fuck is this? I don't.
It was a
fucking want
lie
this.
on the menu because it wasn't fish and chips. All right. It was bitch and French fries. And that I want the chips, crisps, tiny little. That's what they call chips over here. The most backwards fucking country in the world. You invented the language. You can't speak it. You won't say it.
They didn't
Fucking
want to
bitch
answer
and
no
chips.
questions I was asking about. They said fish and chips. And so what the fuck do I want a bag of chips for? I want some fucking French fries. And they're like, went back and forth until we finally figured out it was potatoes. But that's it. I mean,
It's all potatoes. Just how you different potatoes. I prefer to drink my potatoes. You know what I'm saying? But some people like to fry them and eat them up or bake them. I guess twice.
I don't know.
Sometimes they
You live-
twice bake them, and you put.
I get it. When
bacon
you live
them.
on an island, you can't get stuff that you need.
You can't. You can't do it. There's no import export. England is not known for the Navy. Not a good boating community up here.
Yeah, despite being
terrible.
surrounded by water on all sides.
They're afraid of it. They can't. If any person from England goes into water above the knees, they freak out, panic attack, heart attack, die, float away. That's natural selection.
Yeah, get washed up ashore over in France or some shit like that.
Yeah. And then they become a Frenchman. They grow a mustache and they just drink wine and eat bread all day. Eat cheese, fat, that kind of thing. But
Yeah,
no,
Eiffel
over here
Tower,
they
the
just have
whole
fish
thing.
and chips. Just a big old greasy pile of bitch and chips.
Just fucking on the paper. I'm trying to read the paper too. Why the paper cover in grease now?
I don't
Falls
know.
apart.
You can't read the ink is running. It's on the bitch and chips itself.
And they're doing this like mom used to wrap presents with. That's what they're fucking wrapping food with. They can't get no fucking wrappers and no boxes and nothing.
No.
That's what the fuck?
You know what else use newspaper for? Is you put them in your shoes after they get wet. Dry it out.
You can't have those good Italian leather boots. You don't get them wet. When they're wet, you get them dry.
Mm-hmm. They turn into rocks.
I wanted to stop it like 3 times, like, guys, come on. But no, I had to let it keep going as long as it would go.
Did you notice that I started calling them bitch and chips?
Yeah. Bitch and chips.
Bitch and chips.
Can I get some bitch and chips?
Yeah.
So back to racing.
Those are fun characters. I'll want to bring them out again. I'm sure they're going to go all around the world now.
Oh yeah,
much to the begrudging of Dave.
Yeah.
They talked like that for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Hey, I get a good kick out of it too. Remember, I got to listen to this stuff again later. So
I know. Sometimes it's hard to stay in character when I see Dave just dying on the other side. It's completely silent. So we had a red flag situation while they cleaned up the mess. And then
I say it was about an hour too.
It was about an hour, and a lot of weird stuff happened in this red flag. Like they were talking about like what order do we start in again? Because it was going to be standing start. So Max Verstappen got out immediately.
Yeah, he had a great
much
start.
To the agreeability of his father. And then they found out that they're going to start in the same way they started the race, which was much to the disagree of his father.
Oh, yes.
But they only went 2 turns before they got the big R flag. So I see why they did what they did.
Well, it was because it was a few racers at the end didn't pass the safety car line.
Yeah, they didn't pass the safety car line.
So they couldn't even constitute as like an official start, really, because nobody got past that line.
Yeah.
Not everybody got past that line.
Yeah.
So I can see where the FIA would say, or whoever, the governing bodies, powers that be, would say, all right, well, they didn't officially really get to a start, so let's start it over the way they started.
Made sense. It looked weird, but it made sense.
Yeah, it looked weird, made sense. It was also kind of fun to watch the pit crew scramble around and push their cars in the right locations.
Well, and I thought there would have been a lot more controversy after the race about it, but I haven't really heard too much of anything from anybody about it. So I'm guessing everybody kind of agreed it was a rule that whatever.
Except for Jos Verstappen. But the other weird thing about Silverstone is they don't follow. So normally you get the pit box in the order that you finish in. So people that finish first place get the very first box because then you're not
in the constructors championship.
In the constructors championship, yes, of last year. That's how you get it. At Silverstone, they take the top 3 or 4 teams and they put them dead center in the middle because the fans can see them better. So you had a little bit of that. It was also kind of just going to be by nature jumbled up because normally you'd have Mercedes as the first box and then Red Bull and then Ferrari.
Yeah.
Or not Ferrari. Did Ferrari get third last year?
Yeah. McLaren fourthed it.
Yeah.
That's right.
McLaren fourthed up.
Fourthed up.
The fourth was with them. So yeah, they restarted. Max didn't do so well on the second restart as Sainz did. I think Sainz is the one that made it away.
Yeah, he made it away pretty good.
So that was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a good restart because he pinched Verstappen and
he did. Yeah, he
didn't give him
straight over. Yep.
Yeah, like,
you got to do that because Verstappen's a fucking bully on the track. So
yeah,
you
got to bully him right back. And you know what's funny is like Verstappen respects that kind of driving from somebody.
Yeah.
And you had like Sainz was in the mix, and so was Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. Like it was a pretty good battle.
Yeah. Sergio Perez wasn't in the mix for very long.
No. Yeah. He shot down to what, 17?
He had some kind of damage. I think he picked. So he had the exact same damage that happened to Leclerc. and they pitted him and got him a new wing on the first or second official lap.
Yeah.
Because Leclerc, after the accident, when the restart happened, it was a real tight battle between him and Sergio, and they were fucking going at it like gladiators. And he ended up touching someone with his wing, and it shot.
I think
off
it was
the
Verstappen.
little vertical thing.
Yeah.
The wing said like these two, and it was gone.
Yeah.
And
it was a okay strat. I mean, at the time it looked really shitty because he had dropped down to 17th.
Right.
And then shortly after that, Verstappen started having some troubles too. But the strategy ended up working up for Perez based on where he finished. But yeah.
The strategy and go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like the next yellow flag that happened because Ocon, who his suspension got fucked up in the initial crash, something happened where he wasn't able to finish and he stopped like on a straightaway somewhere, so they had to bring out
it was the pit straight.
Oh, that's right. So they had to bring out the safety car, and so Sainz not Sainz. So Perez like got some positions back on that, but then shortly after that, Verstappen, like Carlos Sainz had got around him, and then all of a sudden, like 2 laps later, Sainz and Leclerc go by him. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And he thought he had a puncture.
Yeah. Because he started slowing down heavily.
Yeah, so he came in and got new tires, and they determined that it wasn't a puncture, and that it was a piece of carbon fiber that had got stuck in the floorboard of Max's car.
And the ground effects.
In the ground effects kit, and it wasn't until after the race did they pull it out, and you could very clearly see because it was giant, it was massive, and it says
8 inches long.
Yeah, it said AlphaTauri across it. I think it either came off of one of the AlphaTauri cars when they did their like twin spin out or some shit like that.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
It seemed to have happened when Max went over a curb. He bottomed pretty heavily on it, and after that I think that's when he picked it up because he started performing pretty poorly after that.
So he just fucking the rest of the race just trundled along, like did the best he could, but wasn't what he was hoping for. I'm sure.
No, not at all. Also, especially since the cool battle that happened at the end with him.
Right.
Somebody will say later.
But we need to also talk about Albon because he was also in a pretty bad wreck. I just remembered.
Oh yeah,
it's easy to forget. He and Sonoda and someone else I can't remember who had a bit of a tussle, and Albon
tried to. Sebastian Vettel, I think, initiated it. Vettel.
Yeah, I think he was one that first caused the accident, but I think it was all due to the initial Zhou Guanyu. Cars getting flicked around and everybody, and then all of a sudden more wrecks start happening.
Yeah, I don't think they made contact, but I think they tried to avoid something and then they ran into him, and Albon ends up hitting. He spins out in such a way that he hits the pit straight wall at speed because the way his car turned and gripped, it kept some of the velocity and just
bam.
Because he had a worse injury than Zhou Guanyu, if you can believe that. He was in the hospital for longer than Zhou. Zhou was back before the race was over. Yeah, more G's impact.
Zhou never left the.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Zhou never left the track. They took him to the infield medical center and released him there. They took Alex Albon to a local hospital.
I thought that they said that they helicoptered both of them.
No. They just helicoptered Albon.
No.
They took away Guan Yu on a stretcher in an ambulance to the medical center.
Yes,
but I don't think they ever left him out.
No, they didn't, because he was before the end of the race. They showed him out walking around.
Yeah, I know, because I thought I heard that he left and came back, but it doesn't matter. The point is Alex
everybody
Albon
was good.
More hurt. Yeah, everyone was good.
Everybody turned out fine.
Yeah, no matter how it happened. But
yeah, it was weird because Albon's didn't look super bad when you saw the camera views and the the
like
replays
and a wall scrape.
But and then also that when he hit the wall, I can see where the G-force is pretty heavy there. But also when Tsunoda hit him, he hit him on the right front, and that jerked his car and kind of spun him a little bit more. And I think that might have caused probably some neck issues.
Yeah.
But he said he should be good for what do we got next?
Spa.
Austria. Yeah. No, I thought we were in Austria. Is that Spa?
Spa. No, Belgium.
I thought it was the Red Bull ring we're going to next.
Is it?
You're going to Austria.
Yeah, Austria, the Red Bull ring.
Yeah, I think it's in Austria.
Shut the fuck up. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Spa on the internet. I don't know why.
I think it's because Spa might not be on the calendar for much longer.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That would be bad. That's such a good track.
Maybe it is Spa, because Spa's one of the last races before they go to the summer break, I think.
No, it is Austria. It is Austria.
And then France, right?
Yes, and then Hungary.
Hungary.
But it'll be fun because Tyler and I get to watch that race together.
Yes.
Oh,
and
man,
no podcast next week. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, no podcast next week. We're taking a vacation to the Parasite Lake, so we're gonna be unable to record.
Which just means we'll have so much more to unload on everybody on the following week.
Yeah,
it means you won't have to listen to us try and bumble through another bye week.
Well, there's no bye weeks. We got races until summer break.
Shut up, Dave.
No weeks off.
We can cover 2 races in one podcast, I think, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, we'll just skip whatever one's more boring. We'll just skip that. Yeah, Max Verstappen won.
Yeah, signs one.
So anyway, on with the race. Yeah.
Yes, let's get to. I think that so we already talked about the double spin out, but did you guys catch like the last few laps of that race?
Yeah. That 5-car battle.
That was one hell of a battle. And I loved hearing Crofty and Brundle, mostly Crofty, yell about it. That was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
They were fucking freaking out. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Just started thinking of the way that he announces and he yells. It's like when Joe Rogan does UFC commentary and the interviews afterwards, he's like always yelling.
Yeah.
My favorite ever Joe Rogan quote from watching the UFC was like, and I don't watch the UFC nowadays just because I don't even think about it, and I don't have a cable I don't have cable, so I can't order it. But we're talking like mid to late 2000s, and I don't remember who he's fighting, but Clay Guida was fighting, and Joe Rogan. So Clay Guida, this dude, they're just standing toe to toe, and they're just punching, and no one's blocking, no one's dodging, they're just punching each other. And Joe Rogan's like, man, I really like watching 2 dudes stand up and bang. Like, that's Joe, Joseph.
You're a comedian. You're supposed to be a little quicker than that. You should know.
Right. On TV.
On live TV.
He probably snuck it in on purpose. He's a comedian.
So there's that other one that shows up on Instagram a lot where it was John Jones versus some white dude. And it's like the other commentators like Jones in the black trunks and blah guy in the white trunks. And Joe Rogan's like, or Jones the black guy and blah the white guy. And the guy's like, that was said by Joe Rogan.
That was said by Joe Rogan.
Right.
Anyway.
But yeah, so that last few laps, man, they were fucking intense.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, because they show.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you had it was Hamilton and Sainz it was Hamilton, Leclerc, and Perez, and then all of a sudden they come around a corner and you're like, and fucking where'd Fernando Alonso come from?
Yeah, and then fucking there's Lando Norris trotting behind Alonso like I'm coming in too.
So I think they said that there was at one point it was like 5 cars, 6 cars, and they were all separated by like 20 feet.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
It was a fun last couple of laps.
Yeah.
And then fucking Max Verstappen had a huge battle with Mick Schumacher of all people.
Yeah.
Mick
Schumacher.
What planet did you think you were to watch Max Verstappen versus Mick Schumacher? And Max Verstappen's split time, so he finished 18 seconds behind the winner, which we'll get to in a second. His time at the end of that was 18.777 seconds behind the guy in first place as they passed the line. Mick Schumacher's time was 18.995.
Yeah,
that is a sea hair away from the car in front of you.
Well, Mick made an incredible fucking play on that final chicane to try to pass Verstappen.
Yeah,
but Verstappen, you know, he's smart. He closed them off pretty quick, and Mick had to back off and, you know, settle for 8th instead of 7th. But man, that was a good battle because it went on for.
I'm hoping that kind of wakes
like
Mick
2
up.
laps. Yeah, got his
Mick did
first points.
Yeah, he did really well.
There are now no pointless drivers in Formula One except for still Latifi and Stroll. Stroll's a point.
And our favorite two Canadians, not comedians, Canadians. After I have the official number right here. Let me look it up really quick.
This is official Tire Preference Podcast research happening right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the speed of the internet.
After 6 DNFs, Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi finished right next to each other, with Stroll in 11th and Latifi in 12th. So that's a really impressive finish for the two. After 6 DNFs.
Jeez.
Fucking ridiculous.
Well,
anyway,
I mean, both of those guys are going to be lucky to have a seat next year, if you ask me.
So one of those guys is going to be lucky if he has another seat. The other one, it's like a tax write-off for his dad. Just be like, oh, well, I got a bad employee. I can't fire him. What do you want me to do?
He's in the union. What do you do?
Yeah, I fucking, you know.
Gabagoo. Well, let's get to who passed the line first this time.
A checkered flag. All right.
The checkered flag.
Well, I've been screaming it this whole season, ready for it to happen, and it finally fucking happened. My boy Sainz. Cross the finish line. Number one.
Carla?
P1. First time in his career.
First time.
150 Grand Prix.
Yep.
Yeah.
The longest
first pole and first GP victory on his 150th GP. That's
No, it was. He's not the first to do it on his 150. There's a couple drivers that have done it on their 150th.
Well, I don't know about 150th, but it was Perez 190 at the longest, and then Sainz 150 right behind him.
Hey, Hulkenberg has not got a win yet, and he still races occasionally. But he was like, there's like 3 or 4 other drivers that got their first victory on their 150th, and he is now a part of that.
That's
he's now also not the only Spaniard to not win on the F1 circuit.
He was the only Spaniard to not win on an F1 circuit
currently, because Fernando Alonso has won a few of them, and currently has a Spaniard. Yeah,
I thought you meant like Spaniards throughout history of F1.
No. So
Spaniards are really
kind of nice seeing. It's kind of nice seeing Carlos Sainz and Hamilton's dad celebrating together.
That wasn't Sainz, and that was Perez's dad. That was Checo,
sure?
and it was Checo's dad and Hamilton's dad. Because Checo's dad gave him a kiss on a cheek. Checo's dad's like the most proud father in F1.
See, I thought that was Checo's dad when I first saw it. I was like, he came over from Mexico, dad. and then I thought I heard someone say that was Sainz's dad, and I was like,
no,
it was Checo's dad. Lewis Hamilton's
dad
won,
and then Tom Cruise.
Oh, nice.
Tom Cruise is
how many times Lewis Hamilton's won? I had to imagine when he's on the podium, his dad's just starting to pack stuff up. He's like, no, okay.
I've seen it.
Do you guys know?
I'm still sure very proud of this one.
Yeah, he was he raced like video games. He did a lot of like E-series racing, and I think he got the opportunity to actually drive a car.
But really? I think he might be paralyzed.
No, he was walking around.
No, I don't think he's
unless he has another brother.
So that when the race was over and Hamilton went to his dad his brother was right there. His brother was holding on to the speaker stand, and his dad was holding him.
Yeah, he's got.
Oh, I thought he was just standing there.
No,
I didn't notice.
His legs were all together, his knees were bent weird, and then the next shot is he's sitting down.
He's not fully paralyzed, but I've seen him walk around with like. I've seen him in a wheelchair and then walking around with like crutches and stuff. He's got something going on.
Oh. Well, either way, it was good to see. It was cool to see Hamilton's family there backing him. It was home race, you know.
Back on the podium.
Well, speaking of which, let's get to the point where we speak about who got on the podium. Did we do all that? I know we talked about race winner. We didn't discuss the rest of the podium.
No, it's right. We kind of hinted at who got on the podium because the dad gave the other dad a little piece of poo on the side of the face. That would be Sergio motherfucking Perez, who came from 17th.
Yeah,
that's why.
Did he get driver of the day?
Yeah, he did get driver of the day, and that's when I was like, Russell should have got driver of the day for just being a hero 100%. And going to check on his colleague. But I can see how driver of the day would be Checo for the amazing comeback from 17th to podium. Jesus Christ.
But not just podium,
but second place.
You know how we all should have voted though? Joe Guan Yu.
Yes, I watched too late though. Dang it.
Yeah, we watched too late. So, but what are you?
I should have. You know what? I should have when I saw that on the social medias. I should have just voted right then because I knew he would have been the first one out.
You could have got. I don't know. You could have gotten more. Be like, oh sweet, and then it's like, oh, Sergio Perez is like, has the most votes for a driver of the day. Oh shit, something else happened.
Right. That's true. Yeah, and so that was that's Silverstone GP. Super exciting. A lot of the Silverstone races are just really exciting. I think that the drivers just kind of like Monaco. The drivers just drive different around here, and that's just because it's so historic. Like this is one of the racetracks where you want to be a known winner of Silverstone.
Yeah. And for all the people that were shitting their pants over the amount of celebrities at the Miami GP, saw a lot of fucking celebrities at this GP too.
Yeah.
I guess
fuck off. It's all every GP is a circus for celebrities to show their faces, get a little screen time, and also
look what I could do. So especially when Tom fucking Cruise is sitting next to Total Wolf is still smaller than him, and it's just like
wait, Total Wolf is still smaller than
no, Total Wolf's like 6'4" or whatever, and
Tom Cruise is like 5.5 feet
5'7.5", 5'8". If I have shoes on, Tom Cruise was standing next to him, and it's still like the headphone line was lower than Toto's.
I was gonna say you gotta be. There's no fucking way Toto Wolff is smaller than.
No, he's a tall.
Here's my question though: does Toto Wolff call up Tom Cruise and say, "Do you want to be in the garage to watch?" Or does Tom Cruise call up Toto and be like, "Can I be in the pit?"
I'm sure both sides are sending out things like, "Hey, I'd like to go to this," or "Hey, we'd like you to come."
I'm sure
there's
some Scientology involved in there.
I was not surprised to see Gordon Ramsay in Red Bull's thing because
how fucking awesome was that?
Christian Horner and Gordon Ramsay, like they seem like they would be friends. Like Christian Horner would probably just like touch the thigh of Gordon Ramsay to like lend him an ear when he's like having a hard time at the restaurant. And Christian Horner also just seems like enough of a fucking douchebag to just have Ramsay like on his list. Like he doesn't like Gordon Ramsay, but he knows what it means if it looks like he likes Gordon Ramsay. That's why he likes Gordon Ramsay.
They both know how to work the fucking camera and the media.
Yeah. He probably goes home to his wife and he's like, I fucking hate that Gordon guy, but damn, he makes a good steak.
You know who I want to hear have like a profanity off or just go back and forth with saying bad words is Gunther Steiner and fucking
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
who can yell at their employees better, Gunther Steiner or Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah. Who's got better insults?
I think Gunther Steiner, because he's not afraid to throw the P word out there or the R word. That's pussy and retard. Don't bleep those out, Dave. They'll stay in. They have to know.
I'll leave them in.
You'll allow it.
Context allows it.
I'm not saying him. I'm telling you what he says.
That's what I said. Context allows it.
Yeah. But next time I drop the R word, I won't do the hard D. I promise.
All right.
So anyway, yes, it's a star-studded event. Jake, you had the top 10, right?
I do have the top 10. I have the top 10 right in front of me. So the top 10 for the first time, Yas Queen, is Carlos Sainz. Second is Sergio Perez.
Woo.
Third is Lewis
hell
Hamilton.
Of a drive. Also,
what?
hell of a drive.
Hell of a drive. Hell of a drive.
Sorry, I'm just commenting on your.
Yep. I'll give you 20 a brief second between each one. So coming in fourth place is Charles Leclerc, just missing out on third place.
But and, real quick though, when you see them on the podium, like the podium celebrations, you see the team boss from Ferrari, and like Charles still has his helmet on, and he's like in his face. He's just like, "You will not say anything about the strategy or anything bad about this team before you go to the media."
You got the Italian finger in your fucking face,
Oh yeah,
it's pretty much we're Ferrari. We do it this way. Follow suit. Or I saw one meme that was hilarious. Like, we destroyed Vettel's career, and he's a 4-time world champion. Who are you?
Well, in case I didn't say the joke earlier, we were joking about how each one of the drivers was driving with a certain handicap. Sergio Perez had the wing replacement. Fucking Max Verstappen had the wing that attached to his debris thing, and Charles Leclerc's fucking handicap was the Ferrari pit strategy.
Well, I mean, what were they going to do? Were they going to try to double stack them real fast? Because I mean,
that's true, asses. But and sometimes it just kind of falls into your lap. Getting the preference for the tires, because at the end of the day, Ferrari just wants to get the most points possible. But to finish off your top 10, Fernando Alonso coming in a very respectable 5th place for his age. Lando Norris coming in 6th, another one of the hometown heroes. Max Verstappen, number 1, came in number 7 this time, just narrowly missing out on number 47. Mick Schumacher coming in 8th place. 9th is Sebastian Vettel, fan favorite. And rounding at your top 10 is the other Haas. Haas's number 1 driver, Kevin Magnussen, coming in 10th place. So Haas got a big get with 2 points.
Let's give it up for Haas on the double points weekend.
Peter Steiner was not calling anyone a pussy that day.
Yeah, they've been hunting that one down for a long time, and I think they deserved that every bit of those points. So good for them.
He did not immediately call Gene Haas after the race.
And called everyone a bunch of vankers.
Yeah, we look like a bunch of fucking vankers. By the way, at the end of that, did you hear Schumacher's when he found out he got his first points? Did you hear his radio message? He starts, "Oh, this is fucking great. This is so fucking great. Fucking awesome. Fucking whatever." I'm paraphrasing, but then he goes, "Fucking forgive my language." I just thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, dude, you're excited. You got your first points in F1 finally. Good job. You're gonna cuss it up. Good job. I would too.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. This race also had a pretty high attrition rate. We are missing 6 out of the 20 drivers. So obviously Albon and Zhou were the big ones. And officially in the official finishing order, Albon was out first, so he should have gotten the vote. After that, George Russell, Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly, and Esteban Ocon also retiring this race. So pretty high attrition rate for an F1 race. But these things.
Well,
happen.
I mean, it's a high speed corner track. I mean, what did they say? You're only using your brakes like on a couple of turns.
Of the time.
Yeah, and the rest of the time you're foot, pedal to the metal
all the
way. Yeah. So it's a fast track, and it's surprising that more kind of crazy shit don't happen.
Oh, 100%.
This was I'm gonna put it down as the most exciting race of this season so far.
Yeah, it was pretty. I was pretty excited when Ferrari's winning. So
No, well, yeah, but I mean, as
well,
far
I guess
as
Ferrari
like,
did win this time, so yeah, I shouldn't say that.
well, yeah, as far as seeing the battles, you see, I mean, you get a wreck. I mean, everybody kind of wants to see a wreck a little bit in the back of their mind. Glad everybody's okay, but I'm kind of glad
it was still. It was, and now that we know everyone's okay, it was a dope wreck. That wreck was.
Oh yeah,
that was
sliding.
Come
on.
Super cool. Yeah,
that was sick.
Now that we know everyone's okay. Disclaimer.
Yeah. But yeah,
but
it was an exciting fucking race. And like I said, I was excited to see it, and I'm glad I watched it because it was a goddamn good race.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good transition. I enjoyed the race as well. Speaking of the really sweet dope wreck right at the start of it, there's teams that are some people, I don't know, some of the reports that I was reading that F1 crash testing might come under scrutiny because of the way the like crash pillar broke on Zhou Guanyu's car.
Did he die?
He didn't die.
Sounds like it worked just fine.
And that was the thing pillar. Is that that's the dome piece behind on top.
Oh, okay, yeah, the big intake. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. So, but everything had passed. Everything had passed FIA scrutiny and testing on all the cars beforehand. But the Alfa Romeo one just looked different. For one, like the way that they had designed like their sort of crash pillar system. So there was something, some rumblings about them coming under more scrutiny or something like that in the near future that I was reading about.
What gaining an advantage over some intake thing?
No, they just want them to be more safe,
just stronger.
Well, I mean, it crumbled where obviously the intake is, but the base of it was cheese grated down. I mean, that was just grinded down, and it's still, I don't think Guan Yu's head really touched the ground until he hit the rocks or whatever. Right. Yeah, and I'm sure he was,
because that was the other thing. It was like based on like the FIA, not findings, but like what's supposed to like the amount of spacing between like between the crash pillar and the halo, and there used to be something else on the front of the car. Between that, the driver's helmet had to be like 50 to 75 millimeters below that.
Yeah.
Which wasn't called into question. Like the halo covers that perfectly, and Zhou Guanyu obviously walked away from the crash. Without the halo, would have been much uglier.
Oh, his head would have been dragging that whole fucking time. And how much can that helmet take before? I don't even want to think about it. Honestly, it just sounds horrific.
And I think if my conversion mental math is going, the 50 to 75 millimeters is probably like 2.5 to 3 inches.
Yeah, it's something like,
because 12.7 millimeters is a half inch.
So it'd be a quarter inch. Because you said 12.7 and I said like 50. No, okay. I think we got our math.
You're going the backward. You're going the wrong way.
This is not a math podcast.
It's not a math podcast.
No. I failed calculus enough times. We can figure this out.
I didn't even take calculus. I stopped it.
I don't even like
it. Sucks. It hurts.
I'm just saying, like, so a full inch would be around 24 millimeters, right? Because if half an inch is 12.7, then we're talking like 25 point whatever the fuck. And if it's 50 to 60, that's 2 of that, 2 25s. So it's like 2 to 3 inches.
Anyway, point is, it calls for space, but the Alfa Romeo crash pillar like crumbled a little bit. And I
think it was cheese grated.
Like it was ground down.
Yeah. So there could be some changes to some FIA rules in the future because of this.
There may be.
Another news story that I wanted to touch on. This one's a good one. It's Jos Verstappen news.
We love Jos Verstappen news.
We love Jos Verstappen news.
This isn't super juicy Jos Verstappen news. Like he hasn't been arrested or anything like that or gotten in a fight as of recent. But
yeah,
he did get like a phone call and a slap on the wrist from Helmut Marko after his comments after Monaco about how like they could have done more to help Max out, despite the fact that like I think Max got second or something like that. Like Sergio Perez won. Basically, he was upset that Sergio Perez won and not his son.
Yeah.
The news story that I had read, this Helmut Marko said, I called him right away and I said to him, "What is this, Jos? Everyone can have their opinions, including Jos, but he shouldn't publish it on his son's website." And Jos Verstappen just goes, "Yes, but I am the father."
So, oh my god.
that basically saying I'm gonna keep doing whatever the fuck I want to keep doing.
Well, tell him the quote that Verstappen had too. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was I don't pull that up
really while you're pulling that up. So what exactly is Helmut Marko to Red Bull? Like, is he just an advisor? I mean, how much pull does he have over there?
He's like the sporting F1 director for Red Bull. Like, and is in charge.
So
of,
he's got like a head fucking job. I thought he was just like an advisor or something.
Oh no, he's like the guy that runs like the Red Bull racing program.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't realize that. So I was always like, I just figured Helmut Marko was like a legend in F1 and he just kind of advised with Red Bull and he was always just there.
No, he's not like a Niki Lauda. He's not like a Niki Lauda kind of person.
Okay. I got you.
He's like Toto Wolff is kind of like the CEO and like sporting director for Mercedes. He's like a Toto Wolff, but with more power, I think.
Yeah,
a Toto Wolff.
Oh, we'll figure that out. We'll talk about it next podcast.
Right. Yeah, we'll cover that at some point.
But to read that quote,
there you go,
that Dave had sent us from Max, and this was on a Channel 4 Sport interview. Max said, "My dad never said I was going to be a champion. He was always the opposite. He would tell me I was going to be a truck driver or a bus driver."
Fucking father of the millennium.
Father of the year, right?
Oh my god. I can imagine him screaming at an angry Dutch as he's throwing tent poles in the car that aren't collapsed. So they're just hitting the seats and bouncing back out, and he's having to do it 20 times because he has to be right.
You know, I don't know what's worse is that like fucking that he's that kind of dad, or that Max just thinks that's just okay to be that kind of dad. Like, which is worse?
No shit.
Jesus Christ.
I also imagine like Yost driving away when he left him at the gas station and be like, "Well, why don't you fucking find a truck driver and ask him how he got his job so you can figure your career out."
Oh, I'm sure it was muttered in Dutch.
Yeah, oh, for sure. God, what a fucking nightmare childhood.
Yeah, no shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, is it more sad that he is that kind of dad, or is it that Max just accepts it as that's how dads should be?
He's a Formula One world champion.
If you're a terrible dad,
maybe
you might be able to
produce you know.
You might be able to produce an F1 champion if you're a horrible father.
But he's also
makes you wonder how Lewis Hamilton's dad was. That dude's won more champions than anything. Well, I guess not Schumacher.
I feel like Yost, if he had like won a world champion, be like, "No, I'm a world champion. This is how I raise. This is how you raise world champions." But he's not. I don't think he ever even won a race. I think he maybe podiumed, but I don't think he ever won it.
The only time we ever talk about Jos Verstappen's F1 career is when he caught on fire in the pit lane. That's the only thing that's noticeable about him, other than his son.
And as a callback,
neither one of those things that happened, he would have been forgotten.
I forgot what episode it was in. We talked about it, but just look it up on Google Images or videos of Jos Verstappen blowing up the pits. It's hilarious. It's fucking crazy.
Well, now that we've moved on from the news and Yost news and all that stuff, we did have a question in the comments and we're going to address that because one of our big things is comment questions, and we'll figure that shit out. So,
well, finally, and because we've been doing this for 4 episodes now, trying to get some questions.
Yeah, just send us questions.
Yeah,
we'll
send us
answer
questions and
Yeah.
we'll shout you out. So obviously you're going to shout out whoever this question was from.
Yeah,
there you go.
But I'm not going to say their actual name because it's my mom, and I don't call her by her name because that's weird.
Hey, first comments from your ma. I like
my
it.
mom.
Yeah.
Well,
Hi, Mom.
The first questions from your ma.
This is like baby's first podcast. Like mom's liking everything. Mom's telling the
Yeah.
questions. She's telling everyone, check out this podcast. You know, my son's on there with his brother.
It's so great. My son and their friends, they do this podcast once a week and they talk about Formula One racing. It's so precious. So creative.
You know what?
I still remember
so
when
wonderful.
they were sitting in the bathtub together, naked, fighting, laughing. So great.
I just knew one day they'd have a Formula One podcast. I just knew it in the back of my hat.
Dude, if your mom remains our number one fan throughout the whole of this, I'll be the happiest person ever. That's awesome.
Yes.
So she
I don't even know. Is she our number one fan now? She questioned, so I'll say she's our number one.
Could be.
Fan.
I mean, but we're like a batch of cookies.
You hear that, Em and Cody and Tommy? You guys have. Did you hear that, Em, Cody, and Tommy? You guys got bumped back a little bit because our mom is asking us questions and not you guys.
Well, hey, Morgan listens to our podcast too. So
hey, all you guys out there, ask us some questions. We need some.
Ask us Formula One questions.
Well, yeah,
and on the YouTube channel, don't fucking Snapchat me that shit because it's only gonna last for 8 fucking seconds.
We're trying to get some comments here because it helps out. So just please pander to our needs until we're famous, and then you're gonna be wanting to be like the people we talk to. Anyway, so the question from Mi Madre was, what's the Triple Crown of Motorsports? Because you hear about it a lot. But no one really knows what it is except us. And now you, after I tell you. Yeah. So the Triple Crown of Motorsports is winning 3 very famous races. And they're used in 3 different disciplines, which is why it's hard. So,
yeah. And I think it's also, every time I've heard people talk about it, it's the unofficial Triple Crown.
It is an unofficial Triple Crown. It is not like the
horse racing. Okay,
yeah. If you win this Triple Crown, your baby gravy, is not going to be worth 10 mil for the next spawn of you to do this.
Yeah, so it's basically just bragging rights, kind of.
It's just bragging rights.
Okay.
Yeah. Bragging rights only one person has. There's only one.
Really, it's that rare and
that rare. Only,
but there is someone who is close.
Someone is very close. Someone almost got it a couple years ago, but then didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see. Let me just check this out. I wrote some notes on it real quick.
Filler.
So 19 people have attempted it. Only 2 have gotten 2 out of the 3, and 1 person has gotten all 3.
Oh wow! So it's pretty big bragging rights if you can collect it. It's
pretty fucking a big bragging rights. You get some big set of balls or whatever you want. We're not gender specific. You can get boobs. You can get
huge sets of labia,
stuff, whatever. Huge sets of labias, like the biggest fallopian tubes you've seen. We're talking 3/4 inch diameter fallopian tube.
Jesus Christ!
It's like this. It's like the brake lines on a super sport Chevy Camaro. 3/4 inch.
3/4 inch. All right.
Anyway, I don't know if that's PC, but it's still funny. So just laugh at you bastards. Anyway, Triple Crown Motorsports is winning the is winning the Indianapolis 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Monaco Grand Prix.
That is quite the Triple Crown.
It's quite the Triple Crown. The only person to do is Graham Hill.
And the person who's close and in the spotlight for maybe doing it is Fernando Alonso.
That's true.
Is a Monaco GP winner.
Mm-hmm.
He has won 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Oh, really?
And yes. Mm-hmm. And he has twice entered the Indy 500 and has not done
didn't win.
Now the Indy 500 that's IndyCar, right? That's not NASCAR.
Yeah,
okay.
No, that's IndyCar racing. Yeah, and that's why it's
just
difficult.
Making sure.
3 different disciplines because you're not racing the F1 car in 24 hours of Le Mans. You're racing a GT car.
Yeah. And Indy cars are different. Also.
Now you have teammates that like switch roles with you, right? During the whole 24 hours.
Yeah, you're not driving the 24 hours by yourself. That would be brutal.
No, it's dangerous. You're gonna fall asleep and die.
Yes.
So the only other driver to win 2 of the 3 events was one Juan Pablo Montoya, who was at Silverstone.
Yeah,
but
I saw him there. Yeah.
He and Fernando Alonso are the only 2 people to have 2 of the 3 completed out of 19 drivers that have attempted it, and Graham Hill is the only person to have done it.
Really? And
yes.
When was this accomplished?
That's a good question. I didn't read that far into my research.
When was Graham
1960s? So he
back
won
in the day.
So Graham Hill won Indianapolis in 66, won 24 hours Le Mans in 72, and won the Monaco in 63, 64, 65, 68, and 69. So
Jesus.
In 1972 is when he got it, because that's when he won the 24 hours Le Mans.
So he started his career and was an F1 driver prominently, and then moved his way on afterwards.
Yeah, and then in between the year 65 and 68, he said, fuck it, I'm going to go to Indianapolis once. And then after he retired, it looks like in 69, he went over to the 24 hours Le Mans.
Where do they, okay, so at Le Mans, where the fuck is that?
France.
Okay. I mean, it sounds French, so that makes sense.
It's got the old Musa. I think now they do a different course, but I think back then when he raced, they had the old Mulsanne. I'm going to fuck this pronunciation up, because I only took French in college and I was hungover most of the time. It's not easy to learn a language when you're hungover. But I think it was old Moussalon Strait. Mussolini. It looks like Mussolini, but it's not, because I don't know if they would never name it straight after a fashion.
Yeah, no.
It looks kind of like the old Mussolini Strait. And that thing's like, I don't know, 6 miles long. It's fucking
Jesus Christ
forever. You can, like, if you're at one end, you can see like not the barrier at the other, because it is the curve of the earth.
Jesus.
Yeah. So top speed. And yeah, so Graham Hill, the only guy to ever do it. So
that's crazy.
Yep.
Well, there you go. There's your first question answered by the Tire Preference Podcast.
Yeah.
Podcasters.
Yay. All right, let's try and fit our predictions in here real quick, because we're running out of time, and then we'll do our sign up.
Oh, we got enough time to do those. So our next race is in
Austria.
Home of the Red Bull Ring. This is a home race for Red Bull.
So yeah, let's say they're based in Austria, right?
Yes. But the F1 team is based in England. But this is the home of Red Bull, the brand. The energy drinks home is there.
Okay. See, I thought they were an American brand for some reason.
Yeah, you would.
I guess just because I'm an American and I think everyone's American.
Assume everything cool is American.
Yeah. You're
right.
So,
okay, Austria.
That's an American thing.
Now, Austria is a high-speed track, isn't it?
Austria is kind of an interesting track. It's got a lot of none of the straights are very straight. The straightest straight is the pit, and there's a bit of a kink in it at the beginning after turn 10. So that's kind of fun. It's also a little shorter than the last race around. It's only sitting at about 4K.
Yeah, it's very short.
So there's 3 DRS zones,
70 laps in that short of a track. We got 3 DRS zones.
They're 3D, and they're right after one another. So it's like home stretch after turn 1, and then after turn 3, because turn 2 is kind of a slight turn. Turn 3 is a super intense right-hander, and we have seen funny things happen, like Charles Leclerc taking out Sebastian Vettel when they were both on Ferrari one year. And we also saw Lando Norris do really good on the last couple of years.
You see a lot of passing. Not necessarily passing. Because it's such a short track, there's a lot of lapping. So as you're fighting to keep someone behind you, you've also got to keep an eye on traffic in front of you.
I think one year we saw everyone that was P10 and lower lapped at least once.
Damn.
Yeah, this includes Alex Albon when he was on Red Bull. He got lapped by Max, who was winning the race at the time.
Talk about embarrassing. So there's a lot. It's a very actiony track. Lots of passing, lots of back markers, lots of blue flags this time. Austria is mostly dry, but can be wet because it's Austrian. There's no correlation. I don't even know why I said that. Anyway,
European weather,
but it's still pretty actiony, and there is a lot, like Tyler said, a lot of places to pass. It's not like some circuits where there's like one or two good places to pass. So you plan it like 10 laps in advance. Like I'm going to pass someone there. This is like, I have an opportunity, I'm taking it. And the track is wide enough in a lot of places for you to do that. So that's kind of
some good racing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very exciting track. Red Bull usually does pretty well here. So that's going to be, my prediction is Red Bull on home, leading the championship and the Constructors' Championship. Going to pull out all the stops to keep that lead. Wild card predictions. An AlphaTauri on the podium.
Oh, that's a good wild card. I'm almost supporting that one.
Let's see if I can do this in 30 seconds or less. I think that Sainz is super high on his last victory, so he's going to do really well here in qualifying. I think Charles Leclerc is more hungry than he ever was, so he's going to do really good in qualifying. Calling Ferrari lockout front grid. Boom. Ferrari wins. We're going to say Leclerc gets back on top, Sainz in second, and I'm going to go ahead and say Verstappen in third place. If not, he splits them. Hamilton's going to be very close fourth. George Russell will be right behind him too, because I think Mercedes is starting to wake up again. And my wild card prediction is that Ricardo gets a wild hair in his ass and ends up on the podium.
Ooh, I like that wild card.
Yep.
Dave prediction.
I'm surprised.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's staying in. I don't know what you're talking about for. So my predictions.
Machine gun.
I'm gonna go with Jake on Carlos Sainz is gonna be riding a high. I think his confidence is up, and momentum goes a long way in sports.
Yeah, it does.
Any sport,
right into the wall.
So well,
let's fuck up, Tyler.
I think Carlos Sainz is gonna do well, especially in qualifying. I think 2 or 1 pole position, hopefully. Leclerc, I think, gets on the podium. Don't know first, maybe first, but I'm going to also go with Verstappen's going to either split or go third. Wild card though, man, wild card. You already took my Ricardo podium. Oh, who do I go? Who's doing so well?
Alonso's doing really well.
Alonso's doing well. Oh, well, okay. I'm gonna go. My wild card is Mick gets points again, but Mick finishes higher than 8th. I think he'll be wild card. I'll say Mick goes top 5.
Ooh,
that's my wild card. I mean, that might be
DNFs for that to happen.
Something to happen. Yeah, it might cause something to happen, but that's my wild card.
And that's Dave's prediction. And unfortunately, this is where we have to end. This has been the Tire Preference Podcast.
Yeah,
you've been listening to us talk about Silverstone and some other fun stuff. And while you've been doing that, I have been Jake, and I'm here to answer any questions on this podcast that you have that have to do with Formula One. If you have a really funny question, we might consider answering it. But so right now, we're saying thanks for listening. If you want to find me on the social medias, you can find me on Instagram, where I don't do anything. I don't post anything, but I might start if I get some more followers at the Red Kennedy 45. There's a couple underscores in there. You can figure out where they're at. I'm on Twitter at the Red Kennedy 45, and you can find the podcast at Tire Preference Pod on Twitter and the Tire Preference Podcast on YouTube. We are currently trying to get ourselves on some of the streaming sites. So we're going to try and do that before August. So we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. And with that, I'm going to shoot it over to Tyler.
Yes, I'm Tyler. You can find me at t.k.66 on Instagram for lackluster Instagram content. I never post anything. Do some scrolling. That's about it for social media. So thanks for listening. We'll pass it over to Dave.
Oh, okay.
Hot potato, Dave.
Hot
potato.
Well, yeah, you can always find me at Maximum_Dave. I post things very rarely on there, but you can always find me and my wife on the things we do throughout this country on Featuring Friday at Instagram.
Ooh. Yeah,
that's it.
If you want to, you didn't do the Snicklefritz plug.
Oh, the Snicklefritz plug. Well, if you want to watch some goofy gaming videos of me and some buddies with Jake involved in a lot of those videos, you can catch that at Snicklefritz, which is spelled SN1KKLEFR1TZ on that YouTube channel.
Dave does not have that memorized. He reads it off of the Zoom channel.
No,
I know he does.
Dude, that's been my
gamer. He read it off the fucking Zoom thing every time.
That's been my gamer tag for going on 14 years now. So I got that shit memorized.
If you like dogs, and I know you do, and you want to follow dogs on Instagram, which I know you do because nothing brightens your day like dog stuff, you can go follow Sweet Stormy Adventures. It's Stormy spelled STORMI. And that's my wife's page for our dog, our youngest, the one that you saw ripping toys out of her fucking toy box just to make a mess.
So you know it's going to be entertaining.
Yes. She's got a good dog face.
A good dog face.
Heads up to everyone out there and all of our listeners. Like we were saying, we've said it again. We will not be podcasting next week. We are taking the week off. There is still a race. We will cover some of the highlights from it when we get back the following week. But we suggest you still watch it as we're definitely going to watch it. We're just not going to podcast about it.
We're not going to podcast about it. We're going to be on vacation. There's no studio where we're going, so it's going to be too hard. It's logistic. We don't got enough money to do it, basically. And, we might, if we can squeeze it in, we might have some time to throw a video on the old Schnickelfritz channel. Tyler and I are racing around with Dave. No promises, though. So don't fucking
promises. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
The logistics are a little iffy, but there could be a couple hour period where we'll get some racing in, but we'll see.
We'll see. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.
We'll talk to you in about a week and a half, maybe.
Yeah. And honestly, I want more questions. We need more questions. I like this answer the fans questions corner kind of thing going. I like it. So keep asking them questions, and we'll do our best to answer them as long as they pretty much pertain to F1. We can ask questions about us
as long as your questions stay within
classy.
As long as they stay within track limits.
Yeah, stay within track limits.
Stay within track limits.
So I say hit the gas. Hit the gas. Ask us almost anything. We'll either ignore the question or we'll try to answer it, but we won't know until you put it in the comments. So.
Yeah, you'll never find out. You can always try.
You can always try. Worst we'll say is delete the comment. So
and pretend you don't exist. Block you. You'll never be a part of our universe ever again.
Balls in your court, skid marks.
You're gonna have to go make another fucking profile just to ask your stupid ass question again.
Yeah.
New email, new password to memorize.
So much. Why it seems so labor intensive to be a troll these days.
Well, Dave, you gonna do your sign off, and you're just gonna sit there.
I thought I already did.
No, nope. Tyler and I did, but you're still there.
Oh, I thought all right. You know what I say, life gets fast, slow down sometimes, hit those breaking points.
And those breaking points.
You don't want to go flying off into a wall. You want to hit the corner, get the apex proper, gun it.
That's how it goes. Always remember, quiet time begins at 10 p.m. and please pack out what you pack in.
Yep.
Damn straight.
And with that, this has been the Tire Preference Podcast on the Silverstone Review. Thank you so much for listening. Please go to our YouTube, like, subscribe, and share with a friend. That's your homework. Share with a friend. And the best way to do that is to wait for your friend to go do something else, take their phone and subscribe for them, because they'll never do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Catch you later.